A story that happened not too long ago. We'll call him Yossi. Yossi is a travel agent back in Belgium. And he gets a phone call one day from a very good client of his. And he needs a flight desperately. He's leaving today, Monday. He's got to go all the way to New York and then back to Belgium. He's got to make it before Shabbat. So he calls his travel agent and he tells his travel agent, listen, Yossi, I need a flight desperately. Could you please book me a flight ASAP? Now, parenthetically, just to tell you about Yossi, Yossi was a very successful travel agent. However, he felt very missing in his life. And one day, he sees a sign next to his office, they're beginning a Daf Yomi series. He got very excited, finally a time and a chance to inject the ruchniyut and meaning into his life. So he starts participating in the Daf Yomi class, and without fail, from 2 to 3 o'clock every day, instead of being at work, he closes everything, puts a sign on his desk, out to learn, and he goes to Steig. He gets the phone call at around 10 to 2 from this client. Unbelievable. Quickly, he starts putting in all the inputs. There's no flights. You're not getting anything. The closest thing he can find is from Geneva, Switzerland. Great. Hook him up with the flight from Geneva to Geneva, back and forth. The only thing is, he didn't ask from and to Geneva. So he calls back the office and he tells the client, do you mind taking a flight back to Geneva? He didn't answer the phone. It was his secretary. And his secretary tells him, I'm sorry, I have to ask the boss. Without his confirmation, I cannot tell you anything. He says, okay, but it's already 1:53 and I gotta go. I have my Daf Yomi class. I got my shiur. I can't just, okay, he doesn't know what to do. He said, please tell him to call me the second you have a chance. Great. He's waiting, 1:54, 1:55, the clock is ticking. And he really wants to go to the class already. And he's thinking, should I miss the class? Or should I wait for the call, hit the class? What should I do? And he decides, I have never missed my Daf Yomi class, and I'm not going to start today. 1:55, he closes shop, puts a sign on the desk, and he's out to learn. He comes back at 3 o'clock. He checks his phone, 17 missed phone calls, 7 messages. He never saw this in his life. And all the missed phone calls were from the same person. And the voicemail was from him. And he's telling him how irresponsible you are. How dare you do this? I need a flight. How could you just leave me hanging? He sends back a phone call to him. He tells him, listen, you should just know, I found you a flight from Geneva. The only thing is, I didn't get confirmation back from you. He checks on his computer, and by 3 o'clock, all 215 seats on the way back are sold. He tells him, I'm sorry, there's no more room for you on the flight coming back. If you want, I could reserve a ticket going today, and you'll come back after Shabbat. He says, no, I need to come back before Shabbat. I'm never using you again. How did you just leave me like this? How didn't you call me back? How didn't you make sure that how could you do this? And how could you, and how could you, and how could you? He felt very sorry, and the man made sure to tell his travel agent, this is the last time that I'm going to use you. I'm never going to use you again. The responsibility that you have displayed. He felt very bad for the man and his loss, but at the end of the day, his time for Torah is his time for Torah. I'm sorry I couldn't help you out, but I have my time that I go learn, 2 to 3. I couldn't help you. Salamat, take care, I'll see you later. I can't be there for you. I apologize if you ever need me. I'm not going to use you again. Never, ever. Okay, alamak. That flight that was coming back from Kennedy Airport to Geneva, Switzerland, was the Swiss Flight 111 in September 1998 that crashed into the ocean 8 miles off the coast of Canada, killing all 215 passengers and 14 crew members. When Yossi gets the text, the email, what happened to the flight, he remembers, I had a passenger on Flight 111. And then he remembers, I didn't have a flight. I didn't have a passenger on the flight. He was gonna be on the flight. But because I went to go learn Torah, he wasn't on that flight. And he sends the email to his customer, and he writes on the bottom, 3 words. Ki hem chayenu. The Torah is our life. And when the passenger sees the email, flight 111, he was going to be on that flight, and now he was on that flight because he went to his Torah class. Oh, he starts jumping for joy. He goes over, he sends him a cake. He tells him, where's this Daf Yomi class? Sign me up. I want to make sure to go to that class. And he saw what it means, the power of Torah, and how the greatest shemirah that we have for Am Yisrael is the Limud HaTorah. There is nothing greater in the world than Talmud Torah. As it says, Mefurash, V'Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. The greatest thing that we could ever do in our life is to learn Torah. The greatest thing we could ever do in our life is to learn Torah. The greatest thing we could ever do in our life is to learn Torah. Our rabbis tell us, if you take all 612 mitzvot and you put on one side of a scale, and you take Talmud Torah, Talmud Torah outweighs all the other mitzvot, even if you did all the other ones, L'Shem Shamayim, with the greatest dvekis possible. It doesn't come close to the power of Torah.